Someone from heaven is trying to talk to you about a person who is leaving you forever. Stop everything you are doing right now, because what I am about to reveal to you in these next moments will change the entire trajectory of your life, and there is someone in the heavenly realms who has been desperately trying to reach you, calling out your name in the spiritual frequencies, sending signs and synchronicities that you may have missed or ignored. And this message cannot wait another second, because the person you have been holding on to, the one you have prayed for, cried over, fought for, and believed would never leave, is standing at the edge of a decision that will separate them from your life permanently. And the angels have broken protocol to come to you right now with this urgent warning, because time in the physical realm moves differently than time in the spiritual realm, and what feels like you still have tomorrow to make things right, to have that conversation, to show up differently, to be the person you promised you would be, is actually the final hour, the last call. The closing of a door that once shut will require divine intervention beyond what you can imagine to ever open again. I am Archangel Michael, commander of the heavenly hosts, protector of souls, warrior of the Most High, and I do not come to you with gentle whispers today, because gentle whispers have been sent for months, perhaps years, and you have been too distracted, too stubborn, too wounded, too afraid, or too certain that this person would always be there waiting. And I need you to understand with every fiber of your being that the spiritual courts have convened, the councils have met, and there is a soul contract coming to completion, a divine agreement reaching its expiration, and someone you love, someone who has been woven into the fabric of your daily existence, is being called away from you, not because they do not love you, not because you are unworthy, not because the connection was not real, but because there are assignments in the kingdom that require separation. There are lessons that can only be learned in the absence of certain people. There are versions of you that can only emerge when the person you have been leaning on is no longer there to carry the weight you were meant to carry yourself. The heavenly messenger who has been trying to reach you knows details about your life that would shock you if I revealed them right now. They know about the conversation you had 3 nights ago when you were alone in your room. They know about the tears you cried last Tuesday. They know about the promise you made to yourself that you broke within 48 hours. They know about the text message you have been staring at for the past week, trying to decide whether to send it. They know about the fear that wakes you up at 3 in the morning when you imagine your life without this person, and they have been standing at the veil between heaven and earth holding a message that you need to hear before it is too late, before the person you are trying to hold on to makes a decision that will echo through eternity. And you need to understand that free will is the most sacred gift given to humanity, which means that no matter how much you love someone, no matter how much you pray, no matter how many candles you light or crystals you hold or affirmations you speak, you cannot override another person's free will. You cannot force a soul to stay in a place they are meant to leave. You cannot manipulate the divine timeline because you are not ready to let go. And the angels are weeping for you right now because they can see both timelines. They can see the timeline where you receive this message and take immediate action, where you humble yourself, where you speak the truth you have been avoiding, where you release control and surrender to the divine plan, and they can also see the other timeline, the one where you ignore this warning, where you tell yourself you have more time, where you continue the same patterns that have been slowly eroding the connection, and in that timeline they see you 6 months from now, a year from now, completely shattered, replaying every moment, torturing yourself with what you could have said, what you could have done, who you could have been, and the devastating realization that you had a chance to change the outcome but you did not believe the urgency was real. Listen to me carefully, because Archangel Michael does not speak in riddles or vague prophecies. I speak in direct truth that pierces through the illusions you have built to protect yourself from reality, and the reality is that this person has been showing you signs for longer than you want to admit. They have been pulling away energetically even if they are still physically present. They have been building a life in their mind that does not include you in the same way. They have been having conversations with themselves about what it would be like to start over, to be free, to not have to navigate the complexity of what you two have become, and you have felt it, you have sensed it in your spirit, you have noticed the subtle changes, the way they look at you differently, the way they respond slower, the way they seem distant even when they are sitting right next to you, the way they have stopped fighting with you about things that used to matter, and that last one is the most dangerous sign of all, because when someone stops fighting, it does not mean they have found peace, it means they have found acceptance, acceptance that this is who you are, that this is who they are, that this is not going to change, and they are preparing themselves emotionally and spiritually for the departure that is coming. And you can either wake up right now in this moment and do something about it, or you can stay in denial until the day comes when they look you in the eyes and tell you they are done, and you will search their face for the person you once knew, and you will realize they left long before that final conversation ever happened. Their spirit checked out weeks ago, months ago, and you were too busy or too scared or too proud to acknowledge what was happening right in front of you. The heavenly realms have been in an uproar about your situation because there are angels assigned to you and angels assigned to this other person, and both teams of angels have been reporting back to the throne room about the trajectory of this connection. And what I need you to understand is that angels do not have the same emotional attachment to outcomes that humans do. Angels are concerned with soul evolution, with divine assignments, with the fulfillment of destiny, and sometimes, many times, the greatest act of love is allowing someone to leave, releasing them to their next chapter even when it destroys you, because holding on to someone who is meant to go will destroy both of you in ways that are far more painful than the initial separation. It will breed resentment, bitterness, regret, and a slow death of the spirit that is worse than the acute pain of letting go. And I know you do not want to hear this. I know every cell in your body is screaming that you cannot survive without this person, that they are your person, that you have invested too much, that you have been through too much, that there has to be a way to make it work, and I am here to tell you that your survival is not in question, your survival is guaranteed. What is in question is the quality of your life, the level of your peace, the depth of your joy, and whether you will spend the next year, the next 5 years, the next decade trying to resuscitate something that the divine is trying to lay to rest so that something new can be born in both of your lives. There is a conversation that needs to happen between you and this person within the next 72 hours, not 73 hours, not next week when things calm down, not next month when you feel more prepared. Within the next 3 days there is a window of opportunity where their heart is still open enough to hear you, where the decision is not yet final in their spirit, where your words can still make a difference. But that window is closing rapidly, and once it closes, the spiritual contracts shift, the angels receive new assignments, and the grace period ends. And I am not telling you this to manipulate you or to create false urgency. I am telling you this because I can see into the spiritual realm and I can see the countdown that has already begun. I can see the hourglass that is nearly empty. I can see the door that is already halfway closed. And you have a choice to make right now, in this exact moment. You can choose to believe that this message found you by accident, that this is just another video or another post or another random thing that crossed your path, or you can choose to believe that the God of the universe, the Creator of all things, the Alpha and Omega, orchestrated every single event that led you to these words right now, because there is a divine intervention happening in real time and you are standing in the middle of it whether you realize it or not. The person who is leaving you forever is not leaving because they are evil or because they want to hurt you. They are leaving because they have been hearing a call from heaven that is louder than their love for you, and that is not a judgment on your worth or your value. It is simply a reality of how the spiritual realm operates. Every soul has a primary assignment, a reason they incarnated into physical form. And sometimes the people we love the most are not meant to walk with us for the entire journey. They are meant to walk with us for a season, to teach us something, to show us something about ourselves, to break us open in ways that would never happen otherwise, and then they are meant to go so that we can integrate the lessons and become who we are meant to be. And the tragedy is not in the leaving. The tragedy is in the resistance. The tragedy is in the fighting against what is trying to happen naturally. The tragedy is in the months and years that people waste trying to force something that the universe is trying to dissolve. And I need you to hear me when I tell you that if you truly love this person, if you truly want what is best for them, then you need to be willing to consider that what is best for them might be life without you. And I know that feels like a knife in your chest. I know that feels like the worst possible outcome. But what if I told you that on the other side of releasing them there is a version of you that you cannot even imagine right now? A version of you that is so free, so powerful, so aligned with your purpose that you will look back on this moment and thank God that this person left, that you will see with spiritual eyes that them staying would have kept you small, kept you safe, kept you stuck in a version of yourself that was never meant to be permanent. Say, Jesus, cleanse and renew my heart, if you're desperate to walk in purity. The angels have shown me the two paths in front of you, and I am going to describe them both so you can make an informed decision, because free will means you get to choose even when the choice is hard. The first path is the path of surrender. This is the path where you take the next 72 hours and you get brutally honest with yourself and with this person. You stop performing. You stop pretending. You stop trying to be what you think they want you to be, and you show up as your authentic self, flaws and all, wounds and all, fears and all, and you have the conversation that you have been avoiding, the one where you acknowledge what is really happening, where you ask them directly if they are planning to leave, where you give them permission to tell you the truth without making them the villain, where you release them from any obligation to stay out of guilt or duty or history, and you tell them that you love them enough to let them go if that is what they need, and in that conversation something miraculous can happen. Either they will confirm what you already know in your spirit and you will be able to begin the grieving process with dignity and closure, or they will feel safe enough to tell you what they have really been feeling, what they have really been needing, and there might be a possibility for transformation that neither of you could see before because you were both too busy defending and protecting and hiding. This path requires courage that most people do not have. It requires you to face the worst-case scenario head-on and decide that you would rather know the truth and deal with reality than live in the anxiety of uncertainty. And if you choose this path, the angels will surround you. They will give you the words to say. They will hold you when you break, and they will guide you to whatever is next, whether that is reconciliation or release. The second path is the path of avoidance. This is the path where you finish reading these words and you tell yourself that it does not apply to you, that your situation is different, that you have more time, that things will work themselves out. This is the path where you continue doing what you have been doing, having surface-level conversations, avoiding the real issues, hoping that if you just love them hard enough or give them enough space or change yourself in the right ways that they will decide to stay. And what the angels want you to know about this path is that it leads to a specific outcome. It leads to them leaving anyway, but instead of leaving with respect and closure, they leave with resentment and relief. They leave in the middle of the night or through a text message or by slowly fading away until one day you realize they are already gone and you never even got to say goodbye. This path leads to you being blindsided even though all the signs were there. It leads to you feeling victimized even though you had the power to change the trajectory. It leads to months and years of regret and what-ifs and if-onlys, and the worst part about this path is that you will eventually heal. Time will do its work. You will move on. But you will always carry a small piece of resentment toward yourself for not having the courage to face it when you had the chance. And that resentment will show up in your next relationship and the one after that until you finally do the work you are being asked to do right now. I need you to understand that the heavenly messenger who has been trying to reach you is not bringing this message as punishment. They are bringing it as an act of profound love and mercy because God does not want you to be blindsided. God does not want you to waste any more of your precious life force trying to control an outcome that has already been decided in the spiritual realm. God is trying to prepare you, to give you a chance to participate in your own story with consciousness and choice rather than being a victim of circumstances. And there is someone in heaven, maybe it is an ancestor, maybe it is a spirit guide, maybe it is an angel who has been with you since birth, who loves you so much that they have been petitioning the throne room for permission to break through the veil and deliver this warning, and that permission has been granted, which is why these words have found you. Which is why you are still reading, which is why something in your spirit is resonating with this message even if your ego is trying to reject it, and you need to honor that resonance. You need to trust that inner knowing, because your spirit is connected to the divine intelligence that is orchestrating all of this, and your spirit knows what your mind is afraid to acknowledge. The person who is leaving you forever has been praying too. They have been asking God for clarity. They have been asking for a sign. They have been asking for permission to go or a reason to stay, and they have been getting their own downloads, their own messages, their own divine guidance, and their guidance has been consistent. It has been telling them that it is time to release this chapter, time to honor what was, time to step into what is calling them, and they have been wrestling with it. Because they do not want to hurt you, because they remember who you were to them, because there is still love there even if it is not the same kind of love it used to be, and they have been waiting for the right moment, the right words, the right level of courage, and that moment is coming whether you are ready or not, and you can either meet them in that moment with grace and awareness or you can be dragged into it kicking and screaming. And I promise you that how you show up in this ending will determine how quickly you heal, how much you grow, and what kind of new beginning is available to you on the other side, because endings are not just about loss, endings are about liberation, about completion, about making space for what could never arrive while you were holding on so tight to what was leaving. And there are blessings that have your name on them that cannot be delivered until you open your hands and release what you have been gripping, and those blessings are not just material, they are spiritual, they are emotional, they are opportunities and connections and versions of yourself that are waiting in the wings, but they cannot come onto the stage while you are still performing this old show. Archangel Michael stands before you now with a flaming sword of truth, and I am cutting through every cord of denial, every thread of false hope, every illusion that you have been using to protect yourself from the reality that is unfolding, and I am doing this not to be cruel but to set you free, because the truth will set you free even when the truth is painful. Even when the truth destroys the fantasy you have been living in. Even when the truth requires you to grieve and start over and face yourself in the mirror without the distraction of this relationship, and I want you to consider for a moment what you have been avoiding by staying focused on this person. What parts of yourself have you been neglecting? What dreams have you put on hold? What healing have you been postponing? What conversations with God have you been too busy to have? And what if this person leaving is actually the divine removing the distraction so you can finally face what you have been running from, so you can finally do the deep work that you incarnated to do, so you can finally step into the calling that has been on your life since before you were born. And I know it does not feel like a gift right now, I know it feels like the worst thing that could possibly happen, but I need you to trust that the God who created you, who knit you together in your mother's womb, who knows the number of hairs on your head, who has plans to prosper you and not to harm you, who has been with you through every valley and every storm, that God is not making a mistake with your life right now, that God has not forgotten you, that God has not abandoned you, and that this ending is actually a beginning in disguise. The spiritual realm operates on principles that the human mind struggles to understand because the human mind wants comfort and certainty and control. But the Spirit knows that growth requires discomfort, that faith requires uncertainty, and that surrender requires releasing control, and you are being asked to grow right now. You are being asked to exercise faith right now. You are being asked to surrender right now. And the cosmic forces that govern the universe are waiting to see what you will do with this moment. Will you rise to the occasion? Will you trust the process? Will you believe that you are being guided even when it feels like you are being destroyed, or will you contract in fear? Will you fight against the current? Will you try to manipulate and scheme and control your way into an outcome that is not meant for you? And I need you to know that you can fight if you want to. You can beg and plead and promise to change. You can do all the things that humans do when they are desperate, but if this person is meant to go, if the divine has released them from the contract, if their higher self has made the decision to walk a different path, then nothing you do will change it, and you will only exhaust yourself and compromise your dignity in the process. And you deserve better than that. You deserve to let go with grace, to honor what was without clinging to what is no longer serving either of you. To trust that if it is truly meant to be, then it will be, and if it is not meant to be, then something better is coming, something that is actually aligned with who you are becoming, not who you used to be. There is a specific person reading these words right now who knows exactly who I am talking about. You have had this person on your mind constantly, you have been feeling the shift, you have been sensing the distance, and you have been in denial about what it means. And I am here to tell you that your intuition has been correct. They are planning their exit. They have been thinking about how to tell you. They have been rehearsing the conversation. They have been talking to their friends or their therapist or their journal about how they are going to do this, and they are scared too. They are not the villain in this story. They are a soul trying to honor their own path just like you are trying to honor yours, and the most loving thing you can do, the thing that will actually give you a chance at peace, is to initiate the conversation yourself, to not wait for them to break your heart, to show up with courage and maturity and say, I feel you pulling away, I sense that you are not happy, I need you to be honest with me about what you are feeling and what you are thinking, because I deserve the truth and you deserve to not have to carry the burden of my expectations. And when you open the door like that, when you create space for honest communication, miracles can happen. Not always the miracle you want, not always the miracle of them deciding to stay, but the miracle of truth, the miracle of dignity, the miracle of conscious closure, and those miracles matter, they matter to your healing, they matter to your future, they matter to your soul evolution. The angels are asking me to tell you about the spiritual warfare that has been happening around your situation, because there are forces in the dark realms that do not want you to receive this message. There are entities that feed off of human suffering and they want you to stay in denial until it is too late. They want you to be blindsided. They want you to spiral into bitterness and victimhood, because that is how they keep you trapped in low frequencies, and there has been a battle in the spiritual realm over your consciousness, over your ability to see clearly and respond wisely, and the fact that you are reading these words right now means that the forces of light have won this particular battle. They have broken through. They have gotten the message to you, and now it is up to you to decide what you will do with it. Will you let the light guide you, or will you sink back into the darkness of denial and avoidance? And I need you to understand that this is a critical moment, not just for your relationship but for your entire spiritual journey. Because how you handle this ending will set the tone for the next chapter of your life. It will determine what kind of energy you carry, what kind of lessons you learn, what kind of person you become, and you have the opportunity right now to choose growth over comfort, to choose truth over fantasy, to choose faith over fear. And that choice will ripple out into every area of your life in ways you cannot predict. The heaven realms are preparing a place for you, not the person who is leaving, but for you. There is a space being created in the spiritual realm that is specifically designed for your healing, for your transformation, for your emergence, and you cannot access that place while you are still gripping this relationship with both hands. You have to let go to receive what is waiting, and I know that feels like a terrible trade. I know it feels like you are being asked to give up everything, but what you cannot see from your current vantage point is that what you are giving up is actually very small compared to what you are receiving. You are giving up a relationship that has run its course, that has taught you what it came to teach, that has served its purpose, and you are receiving access to levels of yourself that you have never met, gifts that you did not know you had, strength that you did not know you possessed, and a connection to the divine that is so intimate and so powerful that it will change everything about how you move through the world. And the person who is leaving, as painful as their departure is actually the key that unlocks the door to this new realm. Their leaving is not the worst thing that could happen, it is the necessary thing that must happen for you to level up in the ways that your soul has been begging to level up. I want you to stop for a moment and ask yourself why you are really fighting so hard to hold on. Is it because this person is truly your divine match, your soulmate, your destiny, or is it because you are afraid to be alone, afraid to start over, afraid to face the parts of yourself that this relationship has been helping you avoid, afraid of what it says about you if they leave? Afraid of proving the voice in your head right that says you are not enough, you are too much, you are unlovable. And if I am being honest with you, which is my job as an archangel, for most of you reading this, the fear is the real issue, not the relationship. The relationship has become a way to avoid the fear, and the universe is saying no more. It is time to face it. Time to feel it, time to walk through it and discover that you are not your fear, you are not your wounds, you are not your story. You are a divine being having a human experience, and this experience, as painful as it is part of your curriculum. It is part of what you signed up for before you came to this planet. And you have everything you need inside of you to not only survive this but to thrive because of this, and the angels are standing by ready to assist you, but they cannot assist you until you stop fighting what is trying to happen and start cooperating with the divine plan. The next 72 hours are critical, and I need you to take specific action. First, you need to get alone with God. Turn off your phone, turn off the distractions, light a candle if that helps you focus, and you need to pray, not the kind of prayer where you are trying to convince God to change the situation, but the kind of prayer where you are asking God to change you, to give you eyes to see what you have been missing, to give you ears to hear what you have been ignoring, to give you courage to do what you have been avoiding. Second, you need to write down everything you have been afraid to say to this person. Write it all out, the hurt, the fear, the love, the anger, the confusion, all of it, and then you need to read it out loud to yourself and decide what actually needs to be said and what just needed to be released. And then third, you need to reach out to this person and ask them for a time to have an honest conversation. Do not ambush them, do not manipulate them into it. Simply say, I have some things I need to share with you and some questions I need to ask you. Can we set aside an hour this week where we can talk without distractions, and when you have that conversation you show up as the highest version of yourself, not the wounded child who needs them to stay, but the mature adult who can handle the truth whatever it is, and you ask them directly, are you happy in this relationship? Do you see a future with me? Is there anything I need to know about how you are feeling? And then you be quiet and let them answer. Do not interrupt, do not defend, do not try to fix it in the moment, just listen, really listen, and whatever they tell you, you thank them for their honesty, you tell them you need some time to process, and then you take that time, and in that time you pray again, you ask God what you are supposed to do with this information, and you wait for divine guidance. And I promise you that it will come, it always comes when you are willing to be still and listen. The universe is not trying to punish you, the universe is trying to promote you, but you cannot be promoted to the next level while you are still clinging to this level, and this person, this relationship, this chapter, is this level, and there is a next level with your name on it, a level where you are more free, more joyful, more purposeful, more connected to your divine assignment. But the elevator will not move until you let go of what you are holding, and I know letting go feels like dying. And in a way it is the death of who you thought you were, the death of the future you had imagined, the death of the identity you built around being their person. But death is not the end in the spiritual realm, death is transformation, death is necessary for resurrection, and you cannot resurrect into the new until you let the old die, and I am here as Archangel Michael to guide you through this death, to protect you in this process, to fight off the forces that want to keep you small and scared and stuck, and to usher you into the resurrection that is waiting on the other side of your surrender, and it is glorious. What is waiting for you is so glorious that if you could see it for even a moment you would stop grieving what you are losing and start celebrating what you are gaining, but you cannot see it yet because you are still too close to the pain, and that is okay. You do not have to see it to trust it. You do not have to understand it to surrender to it, you just have to be willing to let go, willing to trust, willing to believe that the God who has carried you this far will not drop you now. Someone from heaven is trying to talk to you right now, not through me, through your own spirit. There is a still small voice inside of you that has been trying to get your attention, and in the chaos of your fear and your grief and your desperation that voice has been drowned out, but I am asking you to get quiet enough to hear it, because that voice is your direct line to divine intelligence. That voice knows the truth, that voice knows what you need to do, and if you listen to that voice, instead of the loud voices of your ego and your fear, it will guide you perfectly, it will never lead you astray, it will show you the way through this valley of the shadow of death, and you will fear no evil because God is with you. The rod and the staff of divine guidance are comforting you. A table is being prepared for you in the presence of your enemies, in the presence of your fear, in the presence of your heartbreak, and your cup will overflow, not with the relationship you are losing, but with the peace and the power and the purpose that you are gaining, and you will dwell in the house of the Lord forever, which means you will dwell in the consciousness of divine love, divine support, divine provision, and nothing, not even this ending, can separate you from that love. The final thing I need to tell you before this message is complete is that the person who is leaving you forever is also receiving messages from heaven. They are also being guided, they are also being asked to make hard choices, and if they are truly meant to go, if this is truly what their soul needs for its evolution, then you honoring that, you releasing them with love, is the greatest gift you can give them. It is how you love them from a distance, it is how you prove that your love was never about possession or control. It was about seeing them and honoring them and wanting what is best for them even when what is best for them breaks your heart, and that kind of love, that selfless unconditional love, is what elevates you spiritually, it is what clears karma, it is what opens doors in the heavenly realms, and it is what ensures that you will attract the kind of love in the future that you have always deserved. Because you cannot attract healthy love while you are demonstrating unhealthy attachment. You cannot call in secure love while you are operating from a place of desperation and fear, and this ending, as devastating as it is your opportunity to break those patterns, to heal those wounds, to become the person who is ready for the love that is waiting. And maybe that love will be with this person after a season of separation and growth. And maybe it will be with someone you have not even met yet, but either way you will be ready, you will be whole, you will be free, and that is what matters most. So here is what I need you to do right now. I need you to take a deep breath, I need you to put your hand on your heart, and I need you to say out loud, I am willing to see the truth, I am willing to face the truth, I am willing to act on the truth. Say it again, I am willing, I am willing, I am willing, because willingness is the key that unlocks grace. And grace is what will carry you through what is coming, and I, Archangel Michael, with all the authority of heaven backing me, I am releasing an impartation over your life right now, an impartation of courage, of clarity, of divine strength, and I am sealing this message with the blood of the Lamb, with the fire of the Holy Spirit, with the sword of truth, and I am declaring that you will not be destroyed by this ending, you will be refined. You will not be abandoned in this process. You will be accompanied by legions of angels, you will not lose yourself in the grief, you will find yourself in the surrender, and 6 months from now, a year from now, you will look back on this moment and you will weep tears of gratitude, not because the pain was not real, but because the transformation was worth it. Because the person you became through this fire is someone you could have never become if you had stayed comfortable. And you will finally understand why someone from heaven was trying so desperately to talk to you about a person who was leaving you forever, because they knew that the leaving was not the end of your story, it was the beginning of your becoming, and your becoming is what the world has been waiting for. And your becoming is why you are here, and your becoming starts now, today, in this moment, with your willingness to let go and trust the divine plan even when you cannot see it, even when it hurts, even when it feels like everything is falling apart. Because everything is not falling apart, everything is falling into place, and you are exactly where you need to be, receiving exactly what you need to hear, at exactly the right time, and that is not a coincidence, that is the hand of God moving in your life, and you can trust that hand, you can rest in that hand, and you can let that hand guide you into everything that is waiting for you on the other side of this goodbye. And so it is, Amen, Amen, Amen. Write, "I adore you, my Holy Father," if he remains your first and deepest love.